see if this is on. Say honor to everyone that's watching, honor to everyone that's joining the chat, honor to you all. Say welcome. We set up Diva Glam Studio Weave, honor to you, and to everyone that is joining. Give me a second here, y'all. Okay. Just had to finish setting up. So I just say honor to everyone. Welcome all. Hope you all are doing well. Hope all is well with you, your loved ones, and hope you all have been making some progress within the times that we are in. All right. I say peace, love, and light to you all. Okay. To Diva Glam Studio Weave, honor. Original Lone Wolf, honor to you, brother. Anthony Chisholm, honor to you. Big O, honor to you. Donald McCord, Yagur Z-Tech, Thinking Out Loud, honor. Honors all. Honor. All right, so at this point, it's just comical with what's going on. I realized something. When it comes to the average person, the average mindset, with the average mindset, and when I say the average mindset, the ones whom still cannot see beyond uh, the shell of what's happening, right? And when I say the shell, y'all know I mean the outer layer, the cover. They still can't see beyond that. Some people think that the protesting is a good thing. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And upon sitting here and doing some research, and American Arawaks has been doing some research also within the Eugenics program, you realize that all protests, all organized protests, when it comes to these pro-black issues of this black people being shot down by police, as y'all call yourselves black, it has always been funded by the people who started and created the eugenics program. Okay? I'm going to say some things and some people might feel insulted. Now, a couple things that I noticed, right? I say everyone is my Earth's brother and Earth's sister. That's a fact. I'm not going to take away from that, and I'm not going to deny that. But I'm not going to act like I'm not living in reality neither. When Martin Luther King was marching, it was very few of other ethnic groups that was in those marches. Up until 10 years ago, you hardly saw any other ethnic group in those marches. I don't even remember seeing even certain organizations within the pro-black community or the melanated community in those marches. At IMQ, honor, brother, honor. Awake the red put, Hayaharu Amandre El Bay, honor to you, honor. Right? In those marches. The past, I say, 5 protests, like the past 5 major protests. Other than this one right here is the one that I've seen the most Caucasian folks, Asian folks, and other ethnic groups that has come out. Right? And you still see folks in there saying all lives matter. And then even when they're showing that the lead head of the protest, because I want to show y'all something, they always put the homosexual male or female at the front. That's the Antifa Black Lives Matter thing. It's eugenics. Okay? Now people say, well, eugenics is when they're trying to cut out the one ethnic group, and but they'll use your own that look like you to push that ideology. It is assumed if someone is homosexual, they're not trying to procreate, right? They're not trying to procreate. So, what the Ford Foundation, the Soroses, the Rothschilds, these folks whose ancestors are founders of the eugenics program, who have been investing in the eugenics program, right? That also goes with the Pioneer Fund. They invest in groups like Antifa and Black Lives Matter because they are truly and really just an LGBT organization. Okay? Nothing more, nothing less. Anything that deals with the heterosexual image of the melanated male and female coming together as a cohesive unit, okay, to fight for something, it always gets diluted down. I'm tired of seeing them put, and I said it before, the big lesbian female getting all emotional in front of the camera, and you know that she's acting because she's an Antifa member. And we know what Antifa is. Okay? I'm tired of seeing them put the sisters that founded hyphen, quote unquote, Black Lives Matter. They're lesbians. Now, this is not me bashing that community. This is me pointing out some facts because I'm heading somewhere with this. In history, they've always used the plight of the abuse that melanated people have gone through to push another movement to stray away from the original objective. The income that these groups make from pulling in from young black males and females, as y'all call yourselves, being shot down dead in the streets. That income, those donations, it doesn't go back to those causes. It goes back to the LGBT community. Okay? If you are arguing or if you are protesting for Black Lives Matter, why do you have the rainbow flag flagging it all up in the air in the goddamn protests? Why? If you are so concerned and worried and want to uplift the supposed black male, why don't you reprocreate? Why are you with the same sex? If you so want to see the ethnicity flourish, why? Why is another man playing in another man's booty hole? Ain't no baby coming out of there. And then the ones that can bring forth a child is bumping clip. Ain't no baby coming out of that neither. So the war, this is psychological. The war on what you call the black family, the LGBT community, is also a part of that war that is being funded by the same eugenics folks, because gay couples don't have children. They adopt. And they push that ideology onto the children that they adopt. And then when a supposed bisexual couple adopts a child, or a female, like the actress that adopted the Negro child, and when he was 3 years old, she started dressing him up in dresses. That's eugenics being played out in front of you. This is not to chop down y'all. This is just the facts. And then the ones that start the violence in these protests is remember the last time they showed that when they first introduced Antifa, it was the Negro female with the dreads that was trying to cut down the statue when they was trying to saw down that statue to tear down the statue, and she was acting all violent and belligerent. Those are agents. Now they have the same thing going on in Jamaica. They're protesting Black Lives Matter in Jamaica, not realizing that it is subliminal programming being played out to program you for the 2021 census. I guarantee on the 2021 census going around in the Caribbean that they're going to put Black or Afro descendant on the goddamn census. And when you click that, I am telling you, once you click off on any of those, you have extremely effed yourself. You said, okay, we have no ties to the Americas, to these lands. Okay? No ties to the Americas, to these lands. Why? What's going to happen? Right now, the supposed Jamaican government has stopped you from traveling freely to your own homeland unless you get their permission. You have to get their permission before you can even buy a plane ticket to go home. Okay? Plain and simple. You have to buy a plane ticket before you have to get their permission before you can go home. You don't believe me? And this platform has been telling you guys for years that this day was going to come. And every single person, every single organization that has misled you for years, you don't hear nothing. Crickets, butt kiss. That has misled your nationality. This goes for all Indians in the West because this is the Western Hemisphere. All these organizations that you looked up to, that encouraged you to turn your back on your nationality, to proclaim something else, even though you knew within yourself that what they were pushing was not right, but you still did it, right? You still did it. None of them are saying anything. They're all silent. Okay? I have yet to still hear anything coming from the Moore Science Temple. And you know why? Because when you trace back the root origin of this, it's going to go back to the Moors. When we speak of Garvey and the misleading that Garvey did to the masses, Garvey left his home at 13 years old. When Garvey traveled through the Americas, he has never been to Africa. He traveled through the entire Americas, South America, okay? Or what is called South America. It's really the North, but you know, these people flipped the entire map on us and scrambled so many things around. But Garvey went there to become a printer's apprentice. From there on, he went to Europe. When he went to Europe as a young man, he met Deuce Muhammad Ali. Okay? That was an African Moor, an African. He educated Garvey, miseducated Garvey on history. Garvey took that and came back to what you now call the States with that teaching. Yeah? Because this is eugenics. And not only is it eugenics, this is the brainwashing, the MK Ultra shit. And he came back to what you call the States and was pushing that foo-foo ideology of going back to Africa, taking 10 million Negroes he wanted to go back to Africa. The islands didn't teach Garvey because island people back in those times still knew that they were of American Indian ancestry. Okay? For the Arawaks, that they will be called the children of the anaconda, the mother serpent. Okay? What does this have to do with eugenics? They must first have to kill your identity. All right? When Noble Drew Ali started teaching the history of the Moors, he learned from an African Moor. Okay? When Elijah Muhammad started teaching Islam, Islam is an African religion. Africans created Islam. That's why they mostly practice it. That's why Boko Haram and them are Muslims, because that's their shit. When Elijah Muhammad started preaching and teaching Islam, he learned from the same Moor that taught Noble Drew Ali. Okay? The same African Moor. All right? Pay attention. Now they taught for years, over 100 years, they taught you to go against your nationality. You've all have been brainwashed and miseducated. We all have been brainwashed and miseducated. And we all have a responsibility to correct the grave injustice that we all have played a part in. For I'm telling you, these people are ramping up everything, and your children will not have a future of a free world, a just society. Okay? Within the culture of the West Indian, the Central American island tribes, the original ones, the thing that you call homosexuality never existed. People can say yes, but you can't. If you say yes, you're going to show me, what they call it, a Scandinavian mixed person who brought over that culture from their lands. Now, if you go back to the early 20s, 30s, 40s, when that started being penetrated into the Negro community, it was because the poor boys from poor families were being molested by rich upcomers, colonizers. And then they turn around and started molesting ones in the community, even their own family members. Okay? And thus, it started ramping up slowly but surely. When television became something very popular, they started using images, flash images, to program the mind. I'm headed somewhere with this because I'm going to show you how much your protest was a big distraction and how much it killed something that you could have gained out of what. Oh my God, you guys just don't get it. I'm going to get there. Flash programming programs the mind. Subliminal programming. They've been doing it for over 60 plus years now on you. When you're looking at these TVs, when you're going to the movie theaters, when you're watching even an infomercial. Okay? And while you're being programmed, because you're subliminally seeing flash images, it's to the point now today where it's not even flash images no more. They're just boldly doing it. To where in the cartoons, they're targeting your children. When you watch a cartoon now today with your niece, your nephew, your son, your daughter, they always have that one character that you can't tell if it's a boy or a girl. Okay? Then it comes out that the character is a boy that just looks like a girl that was crushing on another boy. Then it turns out that when you thought the girl character liked the boy, it wasn't really a boy. It was a girl that just looked like a boy. And this is how they train your children. Okay? Some people say, oh, no, it was a choice. It's not a choice. You should know by now that, remember with the atrazine that they spray on your food leads to turning a masculine male to have him act as if he's a female, and to have the feminine female start acting more masculinated. Thus, the female will be attracted to another female, but she'll always want to be the dominant. That's where you got your butch from. Okay? It's eugenics. They must first take away your culture, because culture is everything. Culture sets your morals and your principles, your spiritual belief. Okay? And once they took away that from you, your mind, your soul, the soul was open for infiltration. That is what they have done. Then the next step was to keep you in constant fear. And while they kept you in constant fear, to make you also feel like you're accomplishing something when you went out there and protest, loot, riot. You achieved nothing. Because every time you went out there and looted and rioted, the politicians stayed in their halls and passed bills on top of bills on top of bills that protected the ones who were abusing you, because they need the ones who are abusing you to still be their bodyguards, because they realize that even though they're putting you through all this, there's ones like I and others who are waking up. Not just here in the West, but also in the East. There have been many head officials in the East that has been placed on the house arrest for crimes against humanity. And here in the West, in New York City, New York State, you had a governor that confessed of doing crimes against humanity. And people are still in the streets protesting for George Floyd. Why do I say this? There was a major lawsuit filed against Google, YouTube, Alphabet, Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation, and many more giants that control the media industry for subliminal programming. Do you hear me? And it just got dismissed this year, a few weeks ago, because they said COVID-19 and the protest, they couldn't serve none of these foundations or people. So the judge, what supposedly had been a judge, dismissed the case. This is what your distractions got you. When you could have gotten the justice, the real justice, to get rid of the folks that are protecting the ones that consistently are abusing you, you went batshit ape on a building and cars that can't fight back. So congratulations. You destroyed property that was insured, that's going to be rebuilt back. And your governors and mayors use that as an excuse to call you violent, belligerent, and terrorist, and use it as an excuse to increase funding on the police department. So be prepared that in the future, you're going to get your face and your teeth kicked in. I had a friend tell me that she's with the protest because it's bringing awareness. If goddamn, well, it's been from the 1960s to what, supposedly 2020 now, and there's still no awareness. How much more are you going to march for this awareness? We're aware. We all know what's happening. The world knows what's happening. The world does not intervene because you don't have a nationality. You called yourself countryless, stateless. We can march hand in hand singing Kumbaya with all ethnic groups. But the reality is, you are the most undermined ones. Every ethnic group have already come together to build wealth with their own. So while they're still marching hand in hand with you, they are still building wealth with their own. And there is nothing wrong with that. But before you can say kumbaya to the world, you must secure yourself. The Jamaican government just told Jamaicans that they cannot have no re-entry back into the country, unless they get their permission first. You hear me? And you have to fill out a 4-page document. 4-page document. They're forcing you to contract. And if you go and fill out that document, you agree to their terms. Meaning that when you go on that plane and they tell you, oh, you can't go on because you didn't get the permission, right? No, meaning that you can only travel unless you get their permission. Meaning that you agreed to contract with them, so you can't fight it afterwards because you don't agree to contract. Here is your moment. Here is your time to come together as a people for a just cause and go down to the parliamentary house and let them know you don't wish to contract with them. You're not doing that. Here is your time. Here is your moment to go down to all the consulates in the states and let them know that's not going to fly because they're not enforcing that on anyone else. If you listen to how they're speaking, they said re-entry. Re-entry. That means you who left the island and wants to come back. Re-entry. Now I'm going to show you something on the website that they guided you to. Let me hit this screen share real quick. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. This COVID-19 is fake. Fake. And I've reached out to many other platforms, and none of them want to take the file from me to share it. Only one sister did. Okay? One sister did. I think what's her name? Sania. One sister with her platform did. I think she got it now because she's asking me for it. I dropped it in her comment section underneath her comment. So hopefully she got it, and some of her subscribers received it because they emailed me and I sent it to them. Right? But other platforms, well, I'm still talking with Soulflow. I'm waiting for him to answer me back. He said he's aware, but he didn't say that he wants the file. He just said that he's aware. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't know about the file. Right? Because he asked me if I know of Shaka. And I asked if it's Shaka Demus, because it better not be Shaka Atmos. Okay? But people are hesitant to take this file. But they all will talk about other things that's not relevant to what's happening now. Like none of this is going to affect them and their children coming on down in the future, near future, meaning a few weeks from now, a few months from now. Okay? Now we're going to hit the screen share. Wait a second here. Let me get back to the screen share. I'll show you guys something. I told y'all it has begun. While you're still playing checkers, they're playing chess, and this is for the people who talk about they agree with the protest. This is what it's getting you because you're focused on something that you're not going to get nothing out of it because everything that you're supposed to get out of it, these people are killing it, and you don't even notice it because you're still talking about you want awareness for police killing black people. The world knows that already. They kill Negroes in every country all over the world. But when I say, okay, look at this. It was a Negro that filled my cousin up with an AK-47. It was a Negro that pulled my cousin, it's a Negro officer, out of his sleep and murdered him and blamed it on the brother. It was a Negro that shot my best friend in the head in Philadelphia. So miss me with the police killing black people shit. Okay? And if you're going to address the issue, address that shit all the way. Okay? It was Negroes that tried to kill me in East New York, Brooklyn. It was Negroes that I got into shootout with because they thought I was moving in on their turf, and I'm not even a drug dealer. Okay? And I could go on all day long. It was Negroes that killed my uncle and buried him right where they killed him at. They murdered him in the cemetery and buried him in the far ends of the cemetery. So some of y'all think y'all live this life? You have not. It was Negroes that came to my house and then had the nerve to tell me I'm selfish after I put them up. It was Negroes that came to my house and got caught spying. Wasn't no white man. Wasn't no cop. I could keep going all day. And it's Negroes that's doing this to you. Let's screen share this. Where's the video? They couldn't have taken down this video so quick. They had a video of the prime minister up here talking. Let me refresh it and see if it's going to come up. Why is the overlay still over it? Like I'm tired. I'm tired of hearing the well Black Lives Matter, but you're not getting it that you don't receive any form of justice because black means one without a nation, one without a state, one without a land, one that does not exist. Is it messed up? Yes, it is. But this is just how the world runs and operates right now. Until you can put yourself in a position of power to change this, then it will never change. Let me get rid of this overlay. I don't know why the overlay is shown like that. Give me 1 second, because I got the video up. Let me see if I get rid of the overlay. All right. It shouldn't be all up on it. And again, now the hacker, I got the hacker in on the chat with me now, right? And this is the person that's been shadowing me this whole time through. Anyway, I'm trying to get rid of the overlay, y'all. Give me a second, because it shouldn't be covering the screen. It shouldn't be like that. All right, there we go. Okay, let's get back to it. Now, this is a video of the prime minister, and then I'm going to play an audio so that you guys can hear it.
I'm Andrew Holness, your prime minister, and I want to welcome you to the Jam COVID-19 app.
Of course, I told you the hacker's in here with me, so he's going to tamper with the thing now.
And website. And easy.
If it acts up like that, I'll just go and play from my phone. Yeah, I'll play from my phone. Let me just pull it up on my phone. I told you. I knew it. I'm going to pull it up and play the audio from my phone, all
of
right?
Jamaica COVID-19 information and services. For example, if you are ill with COVID-19 related symptoms,
Yeah.
use the self-reporting functionality in the app to inform local health authorities and book an appointment to be tested. There are many Jamaicans stranded
I'm telling you.
overseas who would wish to return home. Use the travel tab to register for country.
All right, I'm pulling up on my phone now, y'all. Give me a second.
We care about you. Please use and share the app to keep yourself and your loved ones informed and coordinated with the national effort. Let us all work together to overcome COVID-19.
Yeah, okay. Let me play it on my phone now.
I'm Andrew Holness, your Prime Minister, and I want to welcome you.
Oh, wow. It's doing it on my phone now, too. Wow. Seriously?
19 app and website. An easy-to-use, centralized source of Government of Jamaica COVID-19 information and services. For example, if you are ill with COVID-19 related symptoms, use the self-reporting functionality in the app to inform local health authorities and book an appointment to be tested. There are many Jamaicans stranded overseas who would wish to return home. Use the travel tab to register for controlled re-entry. We care about you. Please use and share the app to keep yourself and your loved ones informed and coordinated with the national effort. Let us all work together to overcome COVID-19.
Now, he said, we care about you. That's what he said, right? But they don't care about you until you realize this is politics. What's going on, and I want y'all to understand, around the world, not only with the Trump administration, but you have certain administrations in Italy, in England, in Britain, in Africa, that has been hunting down the corrupted individuals in high profile positions, that has been masterminding and getting away for over 20, 30, 40, 50 years of child trafficking, abduction, organ harvesting, all the atrocious crimes against humanity, that has waged all these fake wars that your sons and daughters joined up them in the military to go fight, lost their lives, lost a limb, lost their sanity. Okay? Some went away to go fight in a man's corporate war because he was tricked. Because that same man that sent him to war is the same man that blew up the country that he sent him to go war in and put the terrorist group in that country that he sent your son to go fight in. Then that's the same man that started teaching the military to segregate themselves from each other, right? The Marines will look at the, times I hear Marines or Air Force, people say that so Army people are stupid because they put themselves on the front line. Those are the ones that we send in first. But you're both fighting the same war. You're both fighting the same fight. This is the programming. It's to always segregate you. This is the programming. This man says, because we care about you, but who have you stranded? Who was it that had the people in on that boat stranded if that was real? Because I don't believe none of that shit was real. Okay? They need to sell a COVID-19 story. Now, let me show you something. Show you something here on this site. Make this a little bigger. Come on, what? Oh, it's freezing now? Come on. Let me show y'all something. Here we go. Here goes the numbers, right? They said active, 3,978,875. This is worldwide, right? Folks that has COVID-19. That's what they're saying. Confirmed, 7,540,679. How do you have 3 million active and over 7 million confirmed? God damn it. They're lying to you. Here, it said recovered 3,561,804. Those are the ones that recovered. Debts 421,948. And I believe New York in here on the mainland, they were so about it's over 150,000 people that died here on the mainland. That's what they were once saying. Their numbers don't add up. So I don't want to hear numbers don't lie, because obviously it's lying right here. Now we can scroll back on the timeline. Right? This is March 29th, 2020. Here goes the numbers here. Active, 617,829. Confirmed, 782,388. How the hell then did it just blow up to end up in these millions? And even here, the numbers are still off because corporations inflate numbers. Because when numbers are inflated in a corporation, that's how they make their profit. That's how they increase on their profit margin. Those of whom who owns businesses, who runs and operates businesses, you know the tactic. You know what I'm talking about. Those of you who are illiterate to business practices, you wouldn't know. But common sense should show you these numbers are off. What is the prime minister talking about? And the prime minister just said, oh, I care about you. And when I was telling folks the other day, that prime minister don't give two shits about you. They was like, oh, that's my prime minister. That's my PM. That's my guy. So on and so. You can't tell me nothing about him. We know him. No, you don't. Because how are you stranded? They denied you entry back on your own land. And the reason why they could deny you entry is because Jamaica is a corporation on paper. You have not proclaimed your nationality. You've made everybody else come and F the structured system up of when you're supposed to proclaim your nationality. The Rastafarians will tell your Mama Africa, but when you ask them if they're Arawak, they'll tell you that they're Arawak. Okay? You have the Moors down there putting people in places, calling themselves caciques of the people of Jamaica. Who authorized you and told you could do that? Huh? This is the big scam. All of these are government-funded organizations. So even when someone say, well, Rasta don't play a part in a Babylon election, but you're a 501c3 of Babylon system. And the Moors would be like, well, I'm a Moorish American national. We don't play no parts in that. We're outside of the jurisdiction. But you're a 501c3 of Babylon. You cannot deny that shit. This is common sense that we're going to be using here. Common sense. The reason why they could stop you from re-entry back on your own land is because you identify with a corporation, not the land. You identify as Jamaican. Jamaica is not the name of the land. Jamaica is the name of the corporation. That's what they have control over only on paper. You identify as African descent. You're not African descent for the most part. Maybe now there's been some intermixing. You identified as African descendants of African slaves. That's not true. And all you had to do was go down to King's Devon House, go down to Spanish Town at the archival halls of records, and go into the records, and you will see it right there. But you sat back and let these men that went down to those record places, that has those documents to prove that you are not of any of these outside entities, and you yourself never once went to go check. So they took your nationality away from you. And because you don't identify with a nationality, you called yourself landless, stateless. Okay? You have no home. So they could always deny you re-entry and then tell you need permission to come back home. And they use the COVID-19 as a cover-up because Jamaica's own government is guilty of treason and crimes against humanity. So they're limiting you from going home. First, they spread the false reports of people going back home being murdered for trying to build their houses. In few cases, yes, that happens. That's when family members get jealous because family will own land together and they don't want to share the land. And if one builds on the land, the other one wants to tear it down, or they want the next person to give them half of what they built, even though they made no efforts for years. They just sat on their ass and they didn't want to put nothing into it. Okay, so in those situations, yes, it happens. But in those mass publicized situations that y'all see going on, that was a psyops to stop you from wanting to go home to build, because they're taking the ancestral lands now, digging up your ancestral bones, finding your ancestral artifacts, finding what looks like to be the Olmec heads on Goat Island, which I showed you guys that Goat Island has Olmec heads. Meaning you are the original people. Those Olmec heads don't look like those Asian-looking folks with the big pot belly, skinny legs, and goddamn skinny arms that they claim is the original people. They're not. You are. So if you are still identifying with your rightful nationality, they can never deny you entry or tell you you have to fill out a 4-page application. And because you used their passport and didn't correct them on what they put on the passport. Like they have address. Address is not a location of where you live. Address is what I'm doing right now. I'm addressing the audience out there. An actual conversation. They didn't put domicile. They didn't put your rightful nationality. Jamaica is not a nationality. Jamaican is not a nationality. So right there, they put falsehood on the documentations. Okay, because Jamaica is on the Security Exchange website as a corporation. Okay. You need to wake up. What's happening is they're denying you entry because they've been giving away your land to foreigners. All right. The lesser you to go home and procreate back with each other, the more the foreigners can go back on the land, procreate with the population, and they're going to breed you out. Because once you produce a child of the blood of the foreigner, it gives the foreigner access all the time on the land. It doesn't give them ownership. The child will have the inheritance of the land, and the child would allow his foreigner mommy or daddy access to the land, who then will infiltrate the political structured system, who then will sell out the indigenous people on the land, which is what's happening to you now here today, and what's happening to you now here on the mainland. And no one is holding these bastards that's been teaching y'all wrong purposely for over 100 years account. No accountability for them. Look at these numbers. And then they had the nerve to put in the small print down here, information on this website may contain inaccuracies or errors. You think? Because it's a lie. God damn it, the New York governor came out and told people to pretend to be sick. He actually said that shit. And no mainstream media questioned him about why he said that. They all went back to Donald Trump. Like when I was watching the link of the protest that my friend sent me, the guy in Jamaica going to be like, yeah, because Trump don't like black people. And I'm like, shut your ass up. You don't know nothing about the politics that's going on here. Nothing. And then the person that's doing the most talking is a homosexual boy on the bullhorn. He's the one that's in charge of that supposed peaceful protest with like 60 people. So you know it's fake. It's a psyops. Then you see the little old Caucasian man. I swear to God, I thought it was George Soros, but he wouldn't take his mask off. Came and gave them a high five. God damn it. with security behind him. It don't get no more faker than that. And you sit here and have these folks shutting you down, shutting down your right to your free will to move from point A to point B without being harassed. You sit here and have these people doing this stuff, just locking you down. To the next thing they're going to come, I'm telling you, they're going to bring the forced vaccination. But here's the thing. Trump stopped funding the World Health Organization because of the forced vaccination that they want to come and do. And because he knows that they're corrupt. And your governors and your politicians are still talking about the World Health Organization, that they're working with them. How? That's treason. If your president says we no longer deal with these people, how are you to come and say, hey, we deal with these people? That's treason. That's like me saying, well, you know what? I'm going to pull a Snowden and give all these files to the Russians right here. You're going to call me a traitor. I need people to wake up. Now listen to this audio. This is the other audio. I'll play it for you guys right now. Give me a second. You can't make this stuff up. The whole thing is to take your home away from you and put you back into indentured servitude. Now you're feeling to know what slavery was. It was involuntary indentured servitude because now you gave up your land by not claiming you as being of that land. You gave it up. You claim the next man land. And then I see people promoting to tell you to go to Africa. Why? Africa is known to have genocides in a snap, a blink of an eye. 2 million, 3 million, 4 million people murdered. And that's where you're trying to go to? And they're in the midst of confiscating back their lands from colonizers. Meaning you also, you know how many African Americans go to Africa and get lands taken away from them? That's a dirty little truth that they don't want to tell you. Because Africans tell them you're not one of us. $300 million. I think it's Tanzania or Tanzania. Or something like that. The African American community has put into one country. And then those same people, I heard them complain, oh, I can't wait because of the George Floyd incident. I want to get out of here. I really want to go. I really want to get out of here. But you're going to another man's land that you have no influence in their politics, their government. Their constitution don't even include you. And that's where you're going to run back. That's where you're going to run to. You put $300 million in that country, that small country. That $300 million, you could have bought how many hundreds and thousands of acres of land, unclaimed land that the corporate structure has not claimed, and put yourself outside of the jurisdiction of the corporation and build on that land. You did not do that. Now here's where I go and I call a lot of these folks cowards. You march, that's fine. You protest, that's fine. You burn down a building, that's fine. You burnt down a car, that's fine. Did the car hit you back? No. Did the building hit you back? No. Did the car do anything to you? No. Did the building do anything to you? No. Were you going to that building to go buy groceries to feed your children? Yes. Do you know how to farm and grow your own food in the inner city? No. Let's go even further. Eric Garner was being choked to death. Who jumped in to stop the officer from choking him to death? No one. You stood by and you watched it. Okay? This fake-ass orchestrated thing of George Floyd, right? That obvious sacrifice, and they even said it at his funeral that it was a sacrifice. They said it. The obvious sacrifice, Masonic sacrifice. When the officer kneeled on his neck for that knighthood, Neil, and the black glove with the hand in the pocket of the hidden hand. See, a lot of y'all won't know this because probably some of y'all don't have family in masonry. Some of y'all ain't familiar with masonry. Some of y'all never came in run-ins with some of these folks where they try to recruit you, so they let you privy to certain information. Some of y'all just don't read. When Colin Kaepernick takes a knee, that's Masonic. When the police officers are taking a knee, they're not doing it to honor George Floyd. That's Masonic. They're knights onto the crown, the corrupt crown. So knights take knees. Okay? So you burnt down a building. You burnt up some cars. Fine. But you watch Eric Garner get his life snuffed out of him. You watch George Floyd supposedly get his life snuffed out of him. Then after the fact, you want to act all brave on a building and a car that ain't doing nothing back to you. You're cowards. Cowards. And while you're doing that, you just put millions of people on a death list. Because of you, one of the biggest cases to come out on the Clintons was dismissed because they used a fake COVID-19 and this orchestrated protest by the eugenics people to say that they could have served the Clintons or Google or YouTube or Alphabet and certain other officials. So they had to dismiss the case. And this suit was filed from last year. This was the same excuse they was trying to get out of the case that Trump got out on them now, to why she didn't want to go to court or her lawyer didn't want to go to court. See, they've never been in court before. Every time you saw them, they were speaking in front of the Senate or Congress. They've never been in court. Court now means this is a criminal investigation. So I heard the guy talk about Trump don't like black people and Trump. Yo, you were supposed to have been forced vaccinated. This is why these people are ramping up the next level of their plan, because he blocked that shit. So you have time to stop this stuff. And you're still protesting about goddamn George Floyd and Black Lives Matter when the census is coming to the islands. And I guarantee they're going to put black or African descent. And you're going to click one of those. And when you click one of those, you completely effed yourself. I can tell you that right now. Right now. So go ahead. Still be in support of the protest. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's on you. But know what it is that you're bringing down on other folks out there. Because it's not just going to affect you. You want to be ignorant to that concept? That's fine. You can be ignorant to that concept. But you don't understand what's really happening here. I've shared in private with friends tons of information, and they rarely looked at them, right? But they find time to mess with the whole pro-black thing. And now they're lost. They don't know what's going on. Because they're still looking at, you can't look at what's going on from a pro-black mentality. You cannot. Because when you look at it from a pro-black mentality, you're looking at it from all the ignorant teachings that you've been taught, which were a part of the MK Ultra programming to reprogram your mind. This is why they keep saying the new norm. Cuomo keeps saying the new norm, because it's not something that it's just going to last for a couple months, a few extra days. No, he's talking about forever. 6 feet apart, forever. Wear the mask at all times, forever. They have not once gave you any form of ideas of how to keep your immune system boosted. They keep telling you, wait for the vaccine, wait for the vaccine. The vaccine is coming, the vaccine is coming. Let's play this audio. I totally forgot. Listen to this audio. If I played it for y'all before.
If you plan to go to Jamaica in the next few weeks, few months, there is now a new system. You have to go JAMCOVID19.MOH under the Ministry of Health. You have a jam COVID-19. On that website, you will get an application for controlled re-entry to Jamaica. Now, the form is approximately 4 pages long. You need to have several things with you prior to filling out the form. When you go online, with you should be your passport, your TRN, your NIS. You must also know the address that you're going to in Jamaica. These are required information. Once you fill out the 4 pages, on the last page, there is also a voice note that you have to click on and make an attestation that you have read and agree to all the information and that they are true. Once that application is sent in, you get a confirmation email. The confirmation email says your application has been accepted, not approved. It then goes on to be approved, and that could take a while. So my suggestion is that before you purchase your ticket, go on the JAM COVID-19 MOH website and fill out the controlled re-entry application. Once you've done so and the application is approved, I will show you what the approval looks like. All right?
And he didn't even show it. He showed half of a page and cut out majority of the words.
So the approval looks like that. But after you've been given the approval, you also need to go back online and get the authorization, which you have to show the airline.
The authorization, you hear that?
Do your due diligence. I know you want to go back to Jamaica, but please follow the instructions.
And they want you to agree. They told you. He said, and click off that you agree that everything is true. Everything that they've said is true. It's a contract. It's a contract. That's all it is. A contract. You don't have to agree with it. But now that they put it like that out in the public as a public declaration, you now have to come together as the masses to make your public declaration that you don't agree with that contract. You're not doing it. He said controlled re-entry. Then you have to put where you're going to be on the documents so that they know where you are at all times. Do you know how dangerous that is? Because if you were a former political figure, right? If you were a former political figure in the islands or on the mainland, and you wanted to come to the main, and you left the mainland, you're from the mainland, you left the mainland, so you went to Cuba like Assata Shakur, and you wanted to come back to the mainland now, right? You have to let them know where you are. That means at any moment, they could send military or police to come and pick you up and kill you. Just because you're one of those who aren't going for the brainwashing. That's why they need to track you. This is the Chinese. This is where now China is running this shit. It's called Operation Dragonfly, where China created this tracking program structure to track folks, educated folks, or folks who were teaching proper history. And they took them by the millions and locked them away in internment camps to reprogram them. Some have been locked up for up to 20 years. And that's why China at one point, remember at one point China locked off travel. They restricted travel to and from China. They restricted if you were a diplomat and you went to China, you couldn't even walk with your cameras because that's what they were doing to the people. This is what they feeling to do to you. It's not their fault. They don't know that they ain't black. And let me read this. It's not their fault. They don't know that they ain't black and what it means. So let's address the matter properly. Go out amongst your peoples and start shouting and let them know truth and get. I'm addressing the matter properly. If you don't feel like I am, you don't got to stay here. You know what I mean? But it don't get more proper than this, right? And if you listen to the other videos, I even gave them the sources and the references to even go look up and to go look at. When I go out there and I tell someone, even within my own cousin told me that the white man, they called him black, so that's what he go by because he's afraid to call himself an Arawak. So if people feel like they're getting their feelings hurt, at this point, I don't care. Everyone is grown. It's not about your emotions anymore of if you, oh, he hurt my feelings. That's some baby shit. It's about, okay, let me go look into what he's saying. We don't have the luxury. I don't know what part of this some people don't understand. You're literally in the end game. So there's no time to baby anyone. It's either, look, I'm good. It's either you're going to wake up fully or you're going to at least take into consideration. Then I showed you, if you're a citizen, what you can do to protect yourself from from all of these unlawful actions by the corporation. I'll put it out there. I reached out to many other platforms. They're not trying to. They're worried about only getting their views up. So they sticking to the status quo as usual. They're not trying to take on this information. Okay? Not. And then the ones who are acting like they're talking about this information is straight bold-faced lying. When they talk COVID-19 is real, I have the entire dossier on the on the coronavirus. The entire dossier. So I know it's not real. And if you go on any one of my videos, I even just put out the fact that they created a COVID-19, actually a coronavirus 2019 act for folks who had gotten damages because of the coronavirus or because of officials. They put stuff in place to protect you from these corrupted officials, from officials and agents of the corporation who cause damage to you, injury to you using COVID-19. It's in the act. And that you could get remedy from it. So when Cuomo came out and said, hey, we just labeled folks COVID-19 even if they died of whatever. Literally. So the hospitals lied and fabricated the numbers. When the Medicare was saying, well, we receive 13,000 for each people that's diagnosed with COVID-19. When the hospitals say we get 39,000 for each person we could put on the ventilators, and the ventilators was jacking people up because they were wrongfully diagnosing people to get the 39,000. That's genocide. Genocide. Period. You see me got the video, Cuomo confessed, and you missed it? That's what it's titled. That's what it's titled. I dropped the entire dossier of the coronavirus on it when MSNBC kept trying to popping up on my timeline. And I'm like, I'm not even subscribed to these folks. So I subscribed, and then I dropped that dossier and their stuff. You know what they did? They took down their video. So they know they're spreading lies. They know it. The last video I did, I put the coronavirus dossier file going back more than 50 plus years. Okay? In 1996, they was working on a strain of coronavirus that gives flu-like symptoms. If you have the flu, So when Jamaicans talk about if you're having corona symptoms and you need re-entry, you need permission for re-entry. And if you're having corona symptoms, let them know the symptoms. The common cold is coronavirus. Asthma is coronavirus. I'm gonna show you how asinine this whole shit is. Common cold, coronavirus. Asthma, coronavirus. Flu, coronavirus. Bronchitis, coronavirus. Hepatitis, coronavirus. Herpes, coronavirus. Cancer, strain of coronavirus. HIV, strain of coronavirus. You see where I'm going with this? Everything is coronavirus that are identified as diseases. Damn near all of them. That's what they're using on you to trick you. That's what they say. There's a plague. There's an outbreak. Coronavirus. Now, they said dogs, cats, birds, rats, rabbits all have coronaviruses. How many of you have pets? How many of you have a dog or dogs? How many of you have kennels that you breed dogs and sell them? Huh? Why aren't they going around killing all the dogs to stop the outbreak? Right? They said that it lingers in the air for 3 hours. Well, dogs sneeze. Dogs drool. Why? Why aren't they telling you to put a mask on your dog? Huh? Don't clean that dog shit up off the street. Got coronavirus. It's simple mathematics, people. And that's why they hide the fact of the dossier. Okay? That's why they hide it. It don't get more simple than that. Yeah, they get very upset when you don't claim to be black or African American. And when you try to explain it to them, look, it's a process. Some of them won't get it right away. Some of them will tell you that they get it and they still go back to identifying as such because remember, it's brainwashing. It's a programming. It takes a while to break that programming out of them to get them to think freely. You're not reprogramming them to think how you want them to think. You just want them to think freely and actually research before they take on anything anyone says. That's all. That is it. Matter of fact, speaking of the coronavirus file, let me start putting the link in the chat for you guys so that this won't just be just talk, so that you guys can see the shit for yourselves. Because I went back into it this morning, like 2:00 this morning. I did not sleep. I'm not sleeping anymore because I'm going through this shit. And I'm seeing it. And I know what that has to do with you. All of that is eugenics. Yes, there's a war on the people of the world, but the core of the war is you, the melanated man and woman. It's being waged on. Because they've experimented with your genetics because they want to know why can you withstand radiation more than anybody else? Why is it that you withstand this more than anybody else? Withstand that more than anybody else? Why is it that when we mass migrate you from one landmass location, the land don't prosper anymore? Did y'all know that? When you, the original people of the Americas, are massively moved from one piece of landmass, that land does not provide food anymore. That's the spiritual connection. They know this. Now, a sister pointed out to me, and I didn't get to address her back, but someone did address her. And they addressed her and told her what it was. She was talking about the red string that's around Ivanka Trump's wrist. Now, we in the islands know the red string is something to keep the evil eye. Oh, thank you, Q. Q just put the file in the chat. That's the file right there. All right. Q just put the coronavirus dossier file in the chat. Okay. So thank you, brother. Thank you. So that red string, us in the islands, we know it as something to keep the evil eye off of you and ward off spiritual spells that might come to be worked against you or your children. That's why we put it on the babies when a baby comes into the world. We put that on them, or we have something that we put in their hair, right, to keep the evil spirits away. To show you how much of this is spiritual. This, and Trump has one on too. Okay, so this is a spiritual attack also. Okay, you have been encased in a massive spell, and until you also get back spiritually in tuned with the land, with the creatures on the land, with the creator, the ancestors, and the ancestral spiritual ways, to the best of your ability, you will fight the hardest fight to break out of this entrapment. Okay? Before any war is physical, it is always spiritual, and you have the opportunity to stop it in its tracks in the spiritual realm before it becomes physical. Everything that you do is all about harvesting your energy. Energy harvesting. Some of y'all don't like to hear the spiritual talk because you don't want to admit that what they call voodoo has existed before any of your religions. And that is what your ancestors went by. Some of you don't want to proclaim to be of American Indian descent because your ancestors were not Catholics, Christians, so on and so. They weren't. But pieces of your ancestors' spirituality is what they use to make these religious books. Pieces. So you're afraid to go back to the core, to the source, because you've been brainwashed to demonize it. While the ones who are oppressing you are using it to oppress you. See that? What one man want, another man will take. What one man don't want, another man will take and make great use of it. Like, we're going to get into the 5G towers at another time, so we can show you about the frequency, disrupting your frequency, your vibration. This is what these towers are there for, okay? To make you feel like you're sick when you're not sick. All right? 5G towers don't give you coronavirus. 5G towers are to enhance the radiation pollution that they've been polluting you with for over 70 years now. That's the 5G towers. It increases the radiation poisoning. This is why the vaccines, because the skin more so stops certain type of radiation, so they need to inject it in your system with the vaccine. They need to inject it within your system by having it leak into the drinking water supply. Okay? We don't have the luxury to baby nobody. No one. And I sit here and I watch these major platforms just totally ignore the core of what's happening because they've taken oath. They've taken blood oath. And if they go against that, that's either them or someone in their family that's going out completely. And they're not trying to come tell you truth or push truth because they're afraid of death. But death is just another stage of life. But it was okay for you to go on 20, 30 years pushing misinformation amongst the youths of your time, who then became adults, and pushing the same misinformation of the youths of another time, who then became adults and pushing misinformation of the youths of this time. Thus, we have lost children marching, protesting, vandalizing in the streets without proper guidance. Only guidance they have is a boule contracted guidance that is selling them out. Literally line them up for lambs to the slaughter so that the officers can receive overtime. They're spitting in your faces. You're marching for injustice, and they still unjustly treating you, mistreating you. Why? Every time you do a protest, the policy officers initiate the first point of physical contact because you call yourself corporate property. You call yourself property of the corporation. And you not knowing that, well, a corporation is a fictitious entity, and fictitious entities cannot own real and tangible property, real and personal property, natural beings. But this is the brainwashing. You remember Watchmen, when they were showing the brothers and sisters in the movie theater and they were being brainwashed by the flashing lights, the flickering of the screen? They're doing it to you still to this very day. That was the lawsuit that was filed against these major social media companies and mainstream media companies last year that was supposed to have went through this year. But we sat down and let them spread the whole false COVID-19 propaganda. You fell for it. The funniest thing is when I watch someone wear the mask all day, go in their house, their wife coming home from work also, she goes in the house, or they greet the wife on the step and I see them kiss the wife all up on the cheek and stuff and hug the wife. She didn't wash off yet. None of that stuff. And now you hear them change their story and tell you, hey, guess what? COVID-19 now stays in the air for 3 hours. Oh, guess what? Now the liquid, if it penetrates the skin, you could also get COVID-19, but the skin has pores, so it will always penetrate the skin. So and people are still wearing the mask. Then they used the protest and said, oh, the protest is the reason why COVID-19 has spiked. But they didn't say, well, George Floyd funeral and all those celebrities that was all hugging up on each other, all those politicians that was hugging up on each other, all those that weren't wearing masks at the funeral, that was a mass gathering. That didn't contribute back to the respread. This is a cash grab. Not only is it a cash grab, this is the programming. This is a programming that was introduced by China and the Nazis. Because you got to remember, the Asian countries was fighting side by side with the Germans during the Holocaust. You don't believe me? Go look it up. I'm saying these things. I'm saying it and not showing it because I want y'all to go start doing your research. Go start doing your research. But bro, I need some references. I just gave you a straight point. Asian countries, Google Asian countries that fought side by side with the Nazis. You can't find it on Google, start going into archival records. And you'll see it. You'll see it. Remember the video I did when I showed you down to when they all were doing what you thought was a Hitler salute, but it's not a Hitler salute? How even down to even the African countries were doing it? Y'all just gotta open your eyes, man. I love you guys, but I'm not gonna take it easy on y'all. No more. Nothing gets done. Can't take it easy on y'all. Can't take it easy on humanity, period. Gotta be hard. Got to be. I'm telling you. This is not for the faint of heart. And part of me look at this also as a weaving out process, because the strong-minded ones are being separated from the weak-minded ones right now. But the strong-minded ones are still, till the very end, will always try to educate and help the weak-minded ones strengthen that mind and stop being pawns. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. You can't run away to another man's country when your own homeland is in peril. At some point, you're going to have to make up your mind to what you're going to have to do. Because everyone is not going to get the paperwork process. And there's not enough true organizations to truly pass on information or so to show you or give you so that you could do the proper paperwork. Because there's a lot of them out there that has a hidden agenda straight for themselves. But this is why I started showing y'all like everything that the corporate structure has that protects you from the abuse of power that these people have been doing. Okay? Only if I get the reason why the attack on Minnesota. On Minnesota, let me read something that was shared with me about Minnesota. And I'm going to see if I could give you, if I could find it. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Oh. Yeah. My phone got too much memory stocked. It's locked. It didn't save. All right. So next live I'll put up and share it with you guys. I don't want to talk about it. I want to show you guys so that I can prove it. We're not talking about it. I'm going to show y'all. But if y'all don't know something about Minnesota, Minnesota was the state that the senators let you know that and pass bills that you have the right to travel freely from point A to point B without being harassed by any policy officers, meaning that the policy officers are not to approach you unless there has been a crime committed, meaning that it has to have been something of a violent nature. Property had to have been damaged, someone had to have been injured, someone murdered or beat up. If that has not taken place, they have no right to approach you or pull you over in your private property. Okay? Minnesota has that on their Senate records. Minnesota is one of the few places that upholds majority of that Constitution, the federal Constitution. Ah, yes, Andrea C. Minnesota rule. And there's a couple other states. If you pay attention, the states that are fully implementing this lockdown stuff that you see that is willfully going with it and is doing it eagerly without no hesitation are the states that have been violating the rule of law for years. And now is a time where they're being put in check, but they're not fully being put in check because the ones that's supposed to rise up and do it are you, but you're in the street screaming, George Floyd, all lives matter, Black lives matter, all lives matter, Black lives matter. You screaming is not getting nothing done. They see you, they hear you, but you're not telling them what to do on paper. You're not going down there by the thousands and telling them this is what we want. This is our public declaration. You're not doing it, so they don't have to do it. So what they will do, they will gut every bill, every law that I've pointed out to you that massively had protected you from them, but you just didn't know how to use it or you weren't aware of it because, again, the ones in the communities that you were going to be educated by for years miseducated you and had you on hotep all day long and taught you none of this stuff. It's a sick world. It's a sick game. I'm going to look up something right now about the World Health, right? How they backtracked on something that they said. They backtracked on it, and then Fauci caught that they backtracked on it, and Fauci went and was like, yo, y'all better straighten up. We need to stay on the same page with our stories. Because remember when they was talking about this asymptomatic, if you're asymptomatic, you can still spread the virus on a massive level. That's what Cuomo was pushing too. And then the World Health president for one of the sections of the medical section said, no, that's not true. That's a myth. That is not true. Then Fauci came back out and contacted his cronies and had them backtrack on that. You see when they come out and try to tell you the truth? Because that's what they were using. That's what they were using when, pay attention, when they were using the implement to shut down New York State and New York City. That's what Cuomo was using, asymptomatic. And that was an excuse that was using to enforce the HR 666 bill to come into your house to take your children out of your home, away from you, and to pull you out of your home. Okay? This is why it's important. Now let me see if I could find it, all right? Give me a second, y'all. Because sometimes it just gets to the point where you're just like, this shit is just, yo, it gets frustrating. It gets frustrating, especially when you are one of the few. It's me, American Arawaks, I think the sister name was Sonia or Sabrina, right? Of the smaller platforms that's trying to push this information to you guys, because we know the platforms that they're being pushed on. Some of y'all don't even know those platforms, right? That will seem like they're mainstream, but they're not. Let me try to find this thing. Okay, so I think this is it. Let me I'm play the audio for y'all. I'm going to put the link in the chat if this is it.
Just asked. One is the number of cases. So there's a couple of things in the question that you just asked. One is the number of cases that are being reported as asymptomatic. And so we hear from a number of countries that X percentage of them are reported as not having symptoms, or that they are in their pre-symptomatic phase, which means it's a few days before they actually develop severe symptoms. In a number of countries, when we go back and we discuss with them, one, how are these asymptomatic cases being identified? Many of them are being identified through contact tracing. And so, which is what we would want to see, that you have a known case, you find your contacts, they're already in quarantine, hopefully, and some of them are tested, and then you pick up people who may have asymptomatic or no symptoms or even mild symptoms. The other thing we're finding is that when we actually go back and say how many of them were truly asymptomatic, we find out that many have really mild disease, very mild disease. They're not quote unquote COVID symptoms, meaning they may not have developed fever yet, they may not have had a significant cough, or they may not have shortness.
Tell me you guys heard that. Did you not hear that? Many of them don't have COVID, a COVID symptom. They have disease, but it's not COVID. Many, not few, many. That means if you're asymptomatic, when they say you're not showing any symptoms because you don't have COVID-19. But you have Cuomo telling you, well, even if you're asymptomatic, you can still spread it along with some, because he's lying to you. That means, like I said before, his entire household has it, down to even him. He got it because he's around his brother. He's around his brother's wife. He's around his nieces and nephews that his brother was around. Okay? I'm pretty sure before his brother was supposedly sick, he was boinking his wife. Or before he felt like he was sick. All right? So there goes fluids being transferred, because they said that it's transferred through fluids, right? Now let me give y'all the link. The link. Let me give y'all the link to this. And then 2 days later, she backtracked because Dr. Fauci came on TV, and then he reached out to the, because remember, Fauci and the head of the World Health is in the pockets of Bill Gates. Cuomo, all of them. Okay? And Bill Gates is working with the Chinese. So when they're saying Trump don't like black people, Trump just stopped Chinese diplomats from coming to the mainland. He put a ban on them. He put a ban on the World Health. He stopped funding the World Health. He put a ban on the Chinese. He told you to go to the federal attorney general when you want to put the state officials in check. And no one is doing it. Oh, I don't like Trump, that orange orangutan. Yo. Like, I'm not for politics, but I cannot sit here and shit on someone when I know that what people are saying is a total lie about their performance of what it is that they're doing. Right? Yes, Sonia Barrett. Sonia Barrett. Thank you, Yagu. I think you are the one that pointed me out to the sister too. Right? So that's the link to the video of the World Health telling you majority of these people don't have COVID-19. Okay? This is why Cuomo said, pretend that you're sick. Let's play the thing when Cuomo said to pretend that you're sick. Let's go look for that. Let's go get that. Let's go look for that. We're gonna get that. Let's get that. Let me see if I can pull it back up in my video. I hope I didn't have it too far down in my video. Okay. What is it here? Whoa, now. Let me see. Was talking about. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Let's see if we can pull it up. All right. Yeah, this shit is comical. It's comical. All right. So this is going to be his live feed, promos, live feed. Let's see, promo. Give me a second. I'm trying to find it. Okay. It's 22 hours ago, 1 day ago, 1 day ago, 3 days ago. I think this is it. Let me play it and make sure that and see if this is it. Give me a second, y'all. Because look, you're gonna have to hear these stuff for yourselves, man.
Mr. Regina on the phone, who is that gentleman, who thankfully is a. That is disturbing.
Let's back it up.
People forward. Coronavirus was a medical issue, was public with the aftermath.
All right. So we're gonna leave it right there, and now let me pull up the other one because I want y'all to hear this stuff. Oh my goodness, yo! I'll tell y'all, you can't make this stuff up. Can't make this stuff up.
All right, the other live I'll play for you. Right. Yeah, I know
So this is my playback, right?
He pulled you in the goddamn van.
Listen.
Nothing. A lot of these people.
Why isn't it playing?
I'm going to, in the future, United States military armed
Hold on.
tracking and stuff.
Give me a few, y'all. Let me just pull this up. Right.
Time I have left on the StreamYard. Paid agents. That shit is in Arawaks for years. What's your protest?
I'm trying to find that. It's, you know, my streams be like 2 hours, 3 hours long.
1 time and a half.
There we go.
I'm happy over time. Just feels like just yesterday. Today is day 3.
Okay.
Listen. To my right. Acting major. I didn't see the acting before. This is major. I gave you a promotion. Major. Acting major. Listen to the secretary of the governor. To her left, Robert Meade, the budget director. Today's day 98 of the COVID crisis. Feels like just yesterday. Today is day 13 of the civil unrest after the murder of Mr. Floyd. Today is Saturday. I can tell. It's Saturday. It's a nice day here in Albany. I'm on time and a half, so I'm happy over time. Comp time. I know which I get. Today is a day of good news. We have what are we gonna do? One of the lowest hospitalization rates since this began, and really good news, we have the lowest death rate. It's down to 35. I've been asking all the experts who will talk to me, what is the lowest that number can go? And when it gets to this low, it's really a question of what they're attributing as the cause of death. In other words, you have people who are gravely ill, who are going to die of something, and if they get the COVID virus, they attribute it to the COVID virus.
But you heard that? He said you're going to have people who are gravely ill, who die of something, and if they attribute it to the COVID virus, then they're going to attribute it to the COVID virus. Okay? They're making this stuff up. He confessed that they've been fabricating the numbers in the hospital and the whole COVID-19 thing. Okay? Now I'm going to put the link in the chat from the bill that they created last year called Coronavirus Act 2019. Okay? And that's for the families who have lost people and was blamed on the coronavirus. If you were able to even get the body, because they weren't giving the body to family members. They were telling them they can't have the body because morgues were turning down taking the bodies, so they had to take them somewhere. Okay? You can get redress for that. Okay? If you could prove, this is how they got rid of the evidence so that you can't prove that the coroner in the hospital was lying. That you can't prove that the doctor that made the diagnosis was lying. Let me play back again for y'all so that you can hear. Let me play back again. And no major media outlet called him out on this.
Really a question. Since this it's a nice day here in Albany. I'm on time and a half.
This was last Saturday.
Over time. Comp time. I know which I get. Today is a day of good news. We have one of the lowest hospitalization rates since this began, and really good news, we have the lowest death rate. It's down to 35. I've been asking all the experts who will talk to me, What is the lowest that number can go? And when it gets this low, it's really a question of what they're attributing as the cause of death. In other words, you have people who are gravely ill, who are going to die of something, and if they get the COVID virus, they attribute it to the COVID virus. But did you hear that? He just admitted that
you can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. Now, if you go back to the World Health lady, let's play back her shit. Let's play back her shit. Let's go back and to what she was saying. Let's play back her stuff. Hold on. Because I want it to sink in. This is eugenics, people. Now listen.
The question that you just asked. One is the number of cases that are being reported as asymptomatic. And so we hear from a number of countries that X percentage of them are reported as not having symptoms, or that they are in their pre-symptomatic phase, which means it's a few days before they actually develop severe symptoms. In a number of countries, when we go back and we discuss with them, one, how are these asymptomatic cases being identified? Many of them are being identified through contact tracing. And so, which is what we would want to see, and that you have a known case, you find your contacts, they're already in quarantine, hopefully, and some of them are tested, and then you pick up people who may have asymptomatic or no symptoms or even mild symptoms. The other thing we're finding is that when we actually go back and say how many of them were truly asymptomatic, we find out that many have really mild disease, very mild disease. They're not quote unquote COVID symptoms, meaning they may not have developed fever yet, they may not have had a significant cough, or they may not have shortness of breath, but some may have mild disease.
Mild disease. Now, majority of them are not COVID victims, but they were labeling them as COVID-19. Why? Because COVID-19 is fake. None of them is COVID-19 victims. The coronavirus, like I said, is the common cold, which is a cough. When you have that cough, the common cold cough, right? That's what she was saying, like the common cough, so on and so. Okay? Flu is coronavirus. All right? Asthma is a coronavirus. All these things are coronaviruses. Now I'm gonna put the link to that World Health in the chat for y'all right now. All right. Give me a sec. Ana Makadan one. Ana. Let me get the link. Let's put it in the live. Yeah, that's the link to the World Health. If y'all want I got it on my channel, when Cuomo made his little confession. All right. It's called Cuomo Confessed. All right. That's the name of the video. Let's scroll down my list. You'll see it. Okay. Now, with that being said, let's go back to this chart that they have up on the Jamaica COVID-19 government website. Let's go back to this. Let's bring it back up to date. We're going to bring it back up to date. Here we go. Right? COVID-19 spread data, right? It says active 3,978,875. Cases confirmed 7,540,679. If you have 3 million active cases, how do you confirm 7 million cases? That makes no sense. It's fake. They're lying. And the lies is catching up to them. But you're not catching on that the lies are catching up to them because you're distracted, protesting, and looting and rioting. You could have gotten them on treason, crimes against humanity. Now, you're so busy rioting and protesting that they're actually passing policies to shut you down. Okay? You went from protesting most days to going back to social distancing 6 feet apart from each other and wearing a goddamn mask every day. The brainwashing. Come on, people. Come on now. That brainwashing is something serious. You hardly see any of these politicians wear that mask because they understand that the mask gives respiratory damage, meaning that it also destroys or it weakens your immune system. So by the time the cold season comes back in, you're going to be gravely ill, and they're going to say it's COVID-19. Okay, they're trying everything they can to get the HR 6666 bill passed. Because everything they've been doing so far, when they're knocking on your door, when they're doing all these testing, it's unlawful because that bill has not been passed on the federal level. Okay? So these are treasonous acts that they're doing and wars, crime against humanity. So all the remedy that black folks, that what you call yourselves, was looking for, you're missing the opportunity to get the remedy. And once it passes you by, you're going to be in another 1,000 years going through worse abuse than what you're going through now. Because when they finish refunding and fully funding and jacking up the funds for those officers, that's your ass. Okay? Because we don't take time. And when people would be like, they just don't know. Forget all that. You can't live in this world and don't know law. You can't live in this world and don't train yourself, force yourself to at least study the minimum basics of law, at least. Law. Can't just going around saying, well, I didn't know, and then listen to any nonsense that some policy officer tell you. Okay? And then you don't know what to do after they abuse you. How do you go about getting redress? Your first thing is, well, I'm going to sue the station. And that's where your biggest mistake came in. And that's why now you get no redress. You don't get no real results. You're supposed to sue that officer in his personal capacity. You're supposed to put a lien on that officer's bond number, because each officer has an indemnity bond, meaning that they're insured. Okay? Put a lien on that insurance, because anytime he abuses someone out there, the insurance pays the policy. That's what happens. And that's why they continue to do what they're doing. Okay? So when you hear these governors say, oh, we're going to have to reform the police and reform this and reform, they're not reforming nothing. It is that simple. The problem lies within the leaders that you put in positions of power that's not doing their jobs. When it's time for them to discipline employees who have been acting outside of their capacity, they are supposed to be disciplined, not go around the bush and then make the victim seems like they're the ones that are guilty of something. Okay? Can't make this stuff up, family. Can't. Yeah, this is because it's all a part of the eugenics. That's what happened right as the census was coming around. This is all a part of the eugenics. And I guarantee you what happened, I guarantee that the people that they thought was going to click off African American on those boxes, majority of them took no parts in the Senate. Because remember, in the census, remember, we've been pushing it for like four years straight, breaking it down, preparing people about what the census is. So majority of the people probably didn't even participate in it. So they're like, all right, you don't want to participate, so we can't track you via that way. We're going to shut you down, and we're going to try to do our best to do what we need to come and forcibly chip you so we know your every movement. Why would a government need to know your every movement? Because they've been spying on you so much. This is another thing why Google was being sued this year for espionage also. And they were also being sued for taking advantage of artificial intelligence algorithm when they use it to sabotage a person's Instagram, social media, so that it can't pull in the amount of following that it's supposed to pull in, or that this person know that they can pull in, because everything has turned into a monetization system to where they are actually monetizing how much they want you to make than how much you were supposed to officially be making financial wise. Okay? So they were being sued. But because folks was out there protesting and looting, and because you fell for the COVID-19 not conspiracy, the COVID-19 lie. They used COVID-19 as an excuse to why they couldn't serve Hillary Clinton, to why they couldn't serve Google, to why they couldn't serve Alphabet, to why they couldn't serve the Clinton Foundation, to why they couldn't serve Bill Gates, all these people. Okay? And if you're living under a bubble, they threw that case out of court because they couldn't serve the documents. Right? And if you're living under a bubble, people, the Italian government is asking for the arrest of Bill Gates for crimes against humanity. But here, these folks are still pushing the Gates and Melinda Foundation. They're still pushing his vaccine plan. Ask yourself why. Why are they pushing it and your president is against it? Why are these ones pushing it and your president is against it? Why? So is the president against you, or is the president trying to tell you something? Huh? Honor American Arawaks, Edward Bailey, Maven Omega, Peace, Love, Wholeness, Shansia, Jones, Brainstorm, honor y'all. See, American Arawaks has been dropping a whole bunch of videos on eugenics on his channel. There you go. You need the most simplest breakdowns of law? His videos. The videos that he has on his channel. So, subscribe to him. Subscribe to his platform. I'm telling you, you're your own threat. You're your biggest enemy. You're the one that's getting in the way of you. You're the one that's tripping over your own shoelace, your own foot. It's not them. They're the virus. A virus is going to do what a virus is made to do. But you are allowing the virus to spread, to do what it's doing. You. Because you can simply cure this stuff. You have the remedy. And you're not using it. And when we come and tell you about it, oh, I got no time for that. I got to read all of that. I got time for that. Let's go in the streets. We're going to go protest and loot. And when the National Guards came down the other day and the military came down the other day, what happened? All that shit stopped. In a heartbeat. Stopped. Not knowing if you had read those documents, the paperwork, if you had taken care of certain things, the military would have been there to back you up against the police, because the military is supposed to enforce the Constitution. Okay? So when the police keep grabbing on you when you're protesting peacefully, the police are violating constitutional law, so the military is supposed to stop them from getting physical with you, but you didn't proclaim no form of nationality. Plain and simple. You're getting in your own way because of your own mindset of to how you were programmed. And then you have those out there that knows the truth, and because of their ignorance, and because they spent years teaching you falsehood, and they've made hundreds of thousands, some millions off of that falsehood, they're like, yo, you ain't taking food from my mouth. I'm going to continue to teach this bullshit to the people, and that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. We're going to continue telling these niggas, let's go back to Africa because you African, even though their documentations, their great-grandmother, their grandmother told them that they're Indians. That they don't know of no Africa. They only know their people always been here. You ignore that. And you go with the scammers. The scammer guns. Like, it's time to open your eyes, people. Seriously and truly, time. Okay? There's no more babying folks holding people's hands. It's time to stop crawling and start walking. Seriously. All right, y'all, I'm about to I'm going to get up out of here. I'm gonna get up out of here. And again, I'm gonna put the links. Well, I already have the links. The links are already in the description box. Okay, y'all. The links are already in the description box. So the link to the Coronavirus Act is in the description box already. So if y'all go down to the description box of the video, you'll see it, and the link to the dossier, the coronavirus file. It's already in the description box. All right. So it's already underneath the video. Okay, the live. So if you just go to it, you'll see it. All right. So yeah, everything's already there. So only thing left for me to do, I'm just gonna put it in the top of the comment section and pin it there. But it's already underneath the video, so it's there. So it's no need to really put it in the live. All right. So it's like, look, man. I want you guys to be careful. Seriously. It's not about us right now. It is about the babies coming up tomorrow and after that and the generation after that. It is about the future progenies to come. That's what it's about. Either we're going to stand and hold here or don't stand and hold at all. But if we're going to do it the right way. Stop putting yourself out there in a way where you're not accomplishing anything. Like I said, if a bully comes and punches you in the face, you don't turn and punch the wall. You go directly back to the bully. And in this case, the bully are your governors and your mayors, because they're the ones that's given the okay to these policy officers to kick your face in. That's why they never punish them. They'll always tell you, oh, you know what? We're going to do some reform. You don't want no more reform. Just do your goddamn job and punish these bastards. Uphold the Constitution that puts the corporation in check. The federal Constitution that puts the corporation in check. Uphold that shit. Okay? You want real remedy? That 1866 Civil Rights Act is chucked full of it. You want out of this whole thing? Nationality. Takes you out of the jurisdiction of the United States Incorporated and its subsidiaries, which you call states and cities. Nationality, but you must know how to defend it. So you're going to have to do a lot of research and studying on how to defend it, okay? Because they will always try you every day. That being said, I'm going to get up out of here, especially Navarre. It's good to see you, sis. Really good to see you. Star Vision Omnimi, honor to you. And to everyone that was here, American Arawaks, Rainstorm, Edward Bailey, Aliyah Odelia Baha Yasharal, honor sis. I hope I didn't mess your name up. Peace, loves, wholeness, ether. Why that picture? That picture kind of looks familiar. Although it's real small, but it looks familiar. Pretty. Honor to you, sis. Haya Makadan 1. Haya Haru Amandre Elbe. Honor. And, Young Cherokee Peasy, Brother Corey Sly, Maven Omega, Shansia Jones, Michael Crawford, Nana Woo Woo. Yep, there you go. That HR 666 bill. I'm telling y'all, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming because y'all ain't even stopping it. Y'all marching for George Floyd when they're about to pass that stuff for them to come in your house and take your kids out. Selena Morel, honor. Indigo Sanders, honor to you, sis. Honor to you, sis. Caroline McLean, Yagua Z-Tech, honors. Awaken, what's this? Redemption, honor to you. Con Dev, honor to you. To everyone, honor. Lance Ward, honor to you. Lex. And yeah, all right, I'm out of here, y'all. Like I said, all the links is in the description box already, so it's there. If you want the dossier and the coronavirus file, it's there. If you want the 2019 coronavirus act, it's there. Okay, and that's it. And I'm gonna upload them to the top of the comment section when this live is finished processing and it uploads. All right, and I'm gonna pin it in the comment section for you guys, and that's it. All right, y'all. Peace out.